welcome to Scare into our virtual space. Today we are going to be kicking off Momentum 3.1, which is the first part in our next round of our Momentum Career Training Series. And so I can't believe we're already on round 3 of Momentum. If you haven't viewed our previous workshops in Momentum, I highly recommend doing so. There's a lot of wonderful information on reaching your goals and just tips for advancing yourself and kind of deciding on a career. And so today we're actually going to be covering some tips for career alternatives. And so before we get started, I did want to go over momentum and just the general reasons why we chose this as a theme for the career training series. Momentum is movement. Momentum is energy. And movement and energy meet, they become your vision. As you visualize your future, your visions become your first steps. First steps become goals that you create, that you can realistically achieve because you set your pace. You are the momentum for your focus, your passion, your goals for your family. As you create your momentum, you naturally begin to take steps needed to visualize your goals as actions and positive energy for your future. Be kind to yourself. So just a reminder that a lot of the big themes in momentum just deal with setting small goals that are achievable and kind of building up the strength to reach those goals and build up to larger goals in your life. And just remembering also the supports that you have, whether it's through SCARE, through Tribal TANF, through friends and family, and also remembering why you're trying to strive for these higher goals. And so just a quick review of the Momentum 2.0 series from before. We have these trainings quarterly. And so throughout December 2022 and then through 2023, we had workshops on keeping it professional, personal dynamics, are you ready for your dream job? And then the most recent one was meet the employees. So we got to hear from employees what is special to them about where they work and what's important to them to keep them working in the place that they do. And so before we jump into too much, before I pass this on to my colleagues, we do have today's topics, right? So again, the overall theme is going to be career alternatives. And so you're going to hear from my colleague and an interviewee how to start a business. And they're going to go over a lot of tips and resources to help you get started. Just some of the steps needed that you need to think about when trying to start your own business. We're also going to hear about types of networking and how to find these opportunities and just the types of networking that are out there. Some of them are really professional, some of them are more casual, but just the importance of it. We're also going to hear about volunteering and those opportunities, and that can be used to really build skills and also part of networking can really get your foot in the door for different opportunities. And we're just going to be going over the importance of taking advantage of all these types of opportunities. I also just want to let you all know that for any resources mentioned in today's video, there are going to be links in the YouTube description box below. And so especially for starting a business and those tips and resources, they are going to be in the description box. And so before I pass it on to my colleagues, I just wanted to say thank you for joining our training. And please complete the survey that's in the description box below. We would love to hear from you to see what you thought about the training and what you'd like to see in our future trainings as well. We really appreciate the feedback. Thank you so much and enjoy Momentum 3.1.
Hello, my name is Michelle Quinn. Today we'll be talking about taking advantage of network and volunteer opportunities. Welcome to Momentum. Again, my name is Michelle O'Quinn. I'm the job developer here at SCARE. I work with participants on not only their resume and their cover letters, but we also do some career planning. We look at an overview of career options. Also, I give my participant what's called an ONET. It's an interest survey. So basically, we try to take your everyday interests and relate them to real-time careers and look into job opportunities in that career field. Also, I help participants in looking for jobs and creating their own branding. So I may have my participants come in office and, we'll do fun things like Google them and let them see what things pop up. I've had a workshop where my participants Googled themselves and found out they had a YouTube video of themselves from 2016 that they needed to get rid of. Also, I help participants with their job interview and getting ready for their job interview by, doing a mock interview. Also, I'll invite multiple people from the SCARE office and we'll do like a panel interview if that's what type of interview they're trying to prepare for. Also, we talk about accepting job offers and then negotiating your pay and benefits. So yeah, a lot of fun things here at the SCARE office. So for today's agenda, let me move myself out the way. We're going to go over networking, the definition of networking, what exactly is that and what does that look like, where and how can you network, volunteer opportunities, and then how to apply those volunteer skills that you've obtained and how to put it on your resume, or what does it look like on your resume. So here we go. So professional networking is building relationships with other professionals in your career field or in the career field that you want to explore. So if you work in a business office, there are other people that may be above you or below you, to the side of you, wherever it is that you want to go. And so what you want to do when doing networking professionally is that you want to talk to other coworkers, other people that might be a step ahead of you or a couple of steps ahead of you, or might be in a position that you might want to explore. Like you can ask, like, what do you like about your job? Like, what do you not like about the job? Like, what classes do I need to have in order to go in the same direction that you're in? Not necessarily that you want that person's job, but just that you may want to have those skills readily available just in case another company is offering the same position. Also, you can ask a plethora of questions, and a lot of people that are in those positions, like they're happy to talk to other coworkers and share like where they went to school, what classes they took, how it is that they got that job position, who did they know? Who is this a position where it's like it's about who you know? Was it good timing? Was it education? Like, so when you're networking, it's like it's an exchange of information. You're giving information about yourself, what kind of career path you want to get on, and then usually if that person is in line with your career path, they'll be willing to share with you like how you too can be where they're at. Many times when we think of the word networking, professionally networking, we're thinking about, the luncheon at the expensive hotel and everyone's meeting in the conference room with continental breakfasts and brunches, with bagels and cream cheese and seasonal fruit. But no, networking doesn't necessarily always have to look like that. Networking can look many ways. So networking is basically like, you know someone who knows someone who knows someone who knows someone. You are someone who needs to know, or you are someone who knows, within someone's network. And so like as Native Americans in the Native community, there's a lot of events that go on outside of powwows, like Southern Indian House, for example. they always have something going on, some kind of event going on. And when you attend all these different events, like there's always these booths around, and yeah, they have like really snazzy goodies, and they have like their goodie bags and their swag bags and, little different offerings that you can take that are on the table, free gifts and t-shirts and bags and things like that. But outside of that, and outside of grabbing the freebies, it's a great opportunity to network. The people that are working the booth, they obviously work for a company, they obviously work for some type of organization. So that would be a good time to ask them about their job, their career path. What exactly do you do for the company? How did you get that job? Or, what did you go to school for, in order to get that job? Is your company hiring at this time? What positions are available? What positions are open? What kind of jobs do you guys have there? They could be filled already, but, just in case it might open up, like what kind of jobs do they have there? Get more of a feel of the ins and outs of that company as opposed to just grabbing their swag bag, especially when you're trying to network in different career fields. So you might be surprised, like let's say that you're only doing like janitorial work. Well, there's a lot of businesses that need janitors. I mean, it's not just, just like hospitals or things like that. Like there's all types of businesses. Some people have their cashiers and whatnot do the janitorial work, but some businesses actually have a janitorial position. So that's just an example, but it's always good to ask. Also, you can network at friend and family gatherings. It can be a barbecue, it can be just a hangout or whatnot, and you can just express like, hey, I want to get into such and such field. Because again, with that whole mindset of knowing someone who knows someone who knows someone who knows someone, within those networks of things, someone might know someone who knows someone who is in the career path that you want to get into. And then there's the exchanging of the information, like, hey, I'll help you out. I'll contact my friends, see if they can, tell you what you need to do, things like that. Also, going to school. When you're in school, if you're not taking just general ed classes, when you're in school, the people that you're going to school with are usually in your same career path. So you can network with your classmates on where do they work? Is their job hiring? What are the skills necessary to get a job within that company? Like how many classes are they away from obtaining the education they need to move up in the company? Also, too, that guy standing in front, the professor, he obviously works in the field, so you can also ask him. He or his colleagues may have some job leads for you. I had a professor who, teaching wasn't her only job. She taught at night and she taught on the weekends, but she had her own business, and that's what she did Monday through Friday. She worked her own business and then taught college classes. So it's not unusual for these professors to be in the same career field that you're trying to enter into, and then also teach classes at night. Volunteer opportunities. A lot of times when we're thinking of volunteer opportunities, we're thinking about picking up trash at the beach or picking up trash along the side of the road, and that's not necessarily what volunteering looks like or volunteer opportunities look like. You don't always have to get down and dirty, in order to volunteer somewhere. Volunteering can also look like, helping out with some filing, for a company. because depending on how large the company is, like filing papers can be very tedious. And depending on how busy that company is, like sometimes you just don't have time for it. So they may be looking for volunteers for that. Also, you can volunteer answering the phone, doing like some light office work to help out and to volunteer doing that. Also, working with senior citizens, they're always looking for volunteers for that, whether it's exercising, doing exercises in the chair, or just spending time with some of the seniors, reading to them, or just spending time with them. Some homes are looking for people that are willing to do that. And the thing with volunteering is that if they're asking for volunteers or if they're looking for volunteers, then obviously there is an opportunity for possible employment because there's obviously some kind of need in that company, and you could be the one to fill that need. So some skills, and this is just an example, like volunteering in an office setting. So there are some skills that you can attain in volunteering in an office setting, is that you improve your written and verbal communication because certain businesses have an expectation of the written and verbal communication that goes out to their clients. So you're learning to write memos the way that they want, create emails the way that that company wants. You're learning how to communicate with their clients the way that they want you to communicate with them. Customer service is you really need a lot of experience in that because especially today, some people, they get rubbed the wrong way easily, and then some people aren't really bothered too much. So learning how to navigate different personalities and how it is to best reach them where they're at to get them to come to where you are and to meet with an understanding. Customer service, that's a skill that takes time for you to learn, and it's called social maturation. So it's a social skill in customer service. Some people got it and some people don't. And some people have to work extra hard at trying to learn customer service. And then multitasking. So until you dive in to a office setting, it's really hard to explain like all the multitasking that goes on in an office. It could be the revolving door of customers who just walk in, they don't have an appointment, they expect to be served like right now, but then you also have customers that are on the phone and they expect to be served right now. They expect an answer right now, and you might have to open up your computer to look at their case, not necessarily their case notes, but to just look at what's going on with their request or anything like that. So being able to multitask not only the task but also personalities, and also trying to provide great and excellent customer service while you're trying to get all this multitasking done. And again, that is a skill. I would encourage people to volunteer in an office just so that they can get those skills down, just have something to put on their resume, with customer service and multitasking skills. Also program software. Companies appreciate when you come in already knowing how to use the software. That means that they can spend less time teaching you, less time training you, and more time onboarding you and more time getting you working. So knowing the different program software that the company works with, especially any software that is known to be um, prevalent in your career path, um, that's something that you'd want to learn. Attention to detail. So depending on what the office is, and then office skills, like again, it's another one of those skills that you kind of have to dive into the office to pinpoint all the things that you need to pay attention to when you're looking at paying attention to detail, making sure that your grammar is correct, that you didn't hit the comma instead of a period, things like that. Being conscious of your work area, especially if you're working the front desk. You always want to make sure that you're neat and tidy because you're the first person that the customer meets. So you're representing the company in a certain way. So so there's just different details that you want to pay attention to. And then also professional phone etiquette. So of course, we're not going to answer the office phone in the same way or the same manner that we would answer our own personal phone, or the same way that we would answer our home phone, that we have to maintain professional phone etiquette. We wouldn't yell and scream through the phone and, and things like that. Of course, we have to remain professional at all times. But these are all skills that you can put on your resume. Although it wasn't a job that you got paid for, but it was volunteer service that you're compensated for by gaining these skills. And these skills can, transfer over to your resume. Like I have these skills now. I know how to work this software now after volunteering XYZ hours at such and such company. And you can put that company on your resume, and you can write out all the skills that you've learned through volunteering for this office. Join or meet the team. So with all this being said, like says your name here, and I think that volunteering gives you an opportunity to get your foot in the door to different companies. Also, it helps you to build, skills that you may not have had before. And you may not work for that company. I don't want to raise any hopes, but, it may open opportunities for you to work in another office. Again, and it's all about that networking and how great of a job you did, and working for someone who knows someone who knows someone who knows someone who's hiring, and that can be you, and your name could go there on their website with your snazzy picture. So yeah, and I wanted to do this especially during this time because this is the time for holiday seasonal work. And usually companies are hiring before Thanksgiving, and then usually it kind of dies out around Valentine's Day. But I mean, it's a great time to be able to just get your foot in the door. And at this time, I would like to thank you for joining me. Again, my name is Michelle O'Quinn. I can be reached at mishell@scareinc.org. Also, I can be reached at our office. The number here is 619-328-0676. Again, that's 619-328-0676. Thank you.
Morning, everyone. My name is Elise. I will be presenting this portion of the Momentum. We will be discussing entrepreneurship, what that means, what it might look like, what the different tiers are in terms of small business or a company, larger company, and then kind of sharing the ins and outs of what the process would be like to get there. So this is a very possible career path and avenue that you can take if this is something that interests you. So I hope you enjoy. And please, if you have any follow-up questions, you can always reach out to me, Elise at scareinc.org. I will link resources and my contact in the description, and you will be able to discuss more if you so wish. Okay, let's get started. So we have entrepreneur. Is this the path for me? Let's see. So we have, what does it mean to be an entrepreneur? An entrepreneur is a person who organizes and operates a business or businesses, taking on greater than normal financial risks in order to do so. And so what that really means is this gives you the flexibility and creativity to serve as your own boss. And this might seem like, oh, does this mean small business? Does this mean being a content creator? Does this mean working for a company that you created? It really depends. So we're going to get into the details of that, but just know that specifically with the definition, it's just a person who organizes and operates a business. And in most cases, you are kind of solely responsible for that. So if you're investing or putting your, hard work and money into it, you are typically the main person who has the liability and the risks involved. But that can be good. It doesn't have to be scary and bad. So let's get into some more details. Okay, so what are the 4 types of entrepreneurship? We have small business entrepreneurship. So that would be, making jewelry or art, or even having like a small consultant agency or anything that's kind of smaller scale, right? And so then we have scalable startup entrepreneurship. And so this means when you are creating a startup company. And so many companies that you may find that are established now were startups at one point, right? So a lot of those apps, whether it be dating apps or weight loss apps, social media apps, those were all once startup companies. So it can start really small and then grow into something huge and very large. And so that's what scalable means here. And so we have social entrepreneurship, and we have folks who are actually more involved in consulting. So they would be not only providing services in terms of what it means to create the company, and so they would be contracted to help someone build their own business. And there's more of a social aspect to that. And so you don't necessarily have a product that you're selling, but you're selling and you're marketing your knowledge. So that would be another type. And then we have large company entrepreneurship. And that's when we're discussing a big corporation. So something like we were saying could end up at a startup and then grows into a large corporation like Facebook or I guess it's Meta now, or even food companies, Pepsi Cola, things like that. Those are huge companies that once started very small, right? And so that's what that one means. So let's keep moving. And so we have, what are the different types of businesses when we're talking about this, right? So we have, sometimes we hear, oh, you have to establish an LLC, corporation, small business. What's the difference between all of these? So at first, we have an LLC, and all that stands for is limited liability company. And what we're talking about here is just simple management, less paperwork. A lot of folks will establish an LLC, even if they have a small business, right? So it could be very, very simple as to just wanting your name to be secure. So some folks will want to not only start their LLC, but they'll also want to do a patent, or they'll want to have a brand or an established name. And so when you file for an LLC, you are able to establish it as your small business. And so this is a great first step for folks. And then we have two types of corporation. It's Corporation C and Corporation S. And Corporation S is just I want to say it's subcontract, and which just means there's just formalities in both of them. So they're still both corporations. These would be larger companies. Corporation C is more for formal management, and you would raise capital by issuing stocks. You can have many shareholders, and then ownership is represented by the stock. But with the Corporation S, not only are you limited to the shareholders, there's a lot of paperwork, and only US citizens can be shareholders. So that's really important if you're looking into creating a large company and you want to know what your focus is. Is this international? Is this only for folks in the domestic area? So you want to be sure that you're knowledgeable in these areas, so you're able to decide which of these is best for you. Oh, I'm sorry. I think we just skipped way over all these. Okay, here we go. And so now let's talk about the LLC portion, or starting a small business. I myself have my own small business. I have a jewelry business that I have created myself. So not only, and herbs and some healing products as well. It was really simple for me because I already had my art and I already had my products. I already had things I was making. I'm an artist by nature, so I've always been creating. And so for my product in business terms, I already had that. And so this might be a little bit easier for folks because, you know, do you make art of any form? You may be ready to start a business. Whether you have a plan or you already have your art, opening your own shop is possible and actually a lot easier and simpler than you think. And this doesn't mean you have to establish an LLC. So if you think it's going to be a little bit more of kind of like a little side hustle, something that you feel is just, you know, going to be to maybe make some extra cash, or a hobby, that's okay. That's still an avenue that you're gaining some more extra funds, and you're having a great time, and you're being expressive and creative. And it's not so hard. It can be daunting at first. There's a lot to learn, but it's establishing just that small business, even just a storefront online or vending at certain events, and is possible. Especially in our Native community, we know that that's how a lot of us get by. And so being in community with one another and selling our wares is something that we've been doing since forever. And it's important to also note you have the flexibility to vend in person, start an online store, or sell to family and friends. Like I said, it can be as big or as small as you would like. Let's go to the next slide. And now we're going to hear from Scott Bocchio. He is an entrepreneur in the San Diego area. I would like to share some insight that he had for us in terms of starting his own business. He's on the larger scale of things. So I wanted to share a little bit more about my smaller business. And then he's actually going to be sharing a little bit about his business and how he created his brand and the process and what that's looked like for him. So I hope you guys enjoy. Hello, can you please introduce yourself for our listeners, please?
My name is Scott Bocchio, and I am a entrepreneur. I recently started a drink brand in summer 2022, and still going strong with it now.
Nice. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Maybe kind of what got you started and how the process has been so far?
Yeah, so I got started, summer 2022. I was looking at some other drink brands that were established out of my grad school of UMass Amherst, and I saw that these other guys were doing it. They were pretty successful with it. I figured, maybe something worth looking into. And one of my friends from my grad school cohort, so we were both in the business and analytics program. My friend Elvis and I we've been talking about doing a business, venture together for a while. We just didn't really have like an idea of what, but we just know we wanted to work together. And we wanted to do like a company that was like doing data-driven decisions. So, using whatever different data points are out there at our disposal to kind of inform like the process of how we start the company, how we pick our product, and everything in between. So yeah, we're inspired by those other guys that started their brands, and then we started our brand summer of 2022. After that, we started reaching out to different formulators, and that kind of kicked the whole ball rolling, I guess, into like the technical aspect of things.
Okay, it sounds like that's a long process between kind of coming up with the idea, and it sounds like you focused a lot on data and certain, I guess, ways that like trends that were being set with certain drinks, so that's interesting. Can you tell us a little bit more about the process in it of itself? So it sounds like you had an idea and you and your friend were ready to kind of start this brand. And so when you already have, say, the brand or the idea, what would be the first steps to like establishing the business?
Yeah, so to like do like the actual business, like getting that started,
Mm-hmm.
um, we had to file articles of um I forget the specific term, but basically we had to send the I think articles of incorporation to so we started the business in Massachusetts, so we had to send it to the state, basically get incorporated. So our business that we have, it's just the two of us. We ended up choosing to do a multi-member LLC, so it's a limited liability corporation. So similar to just like a partnership between the two, but we have the advantage of an LLC where it's like you don't have all the liability on you personally, but it would it lies on the company. So that was kind of nice having that flexibility and freedom. But yeah, so we started out, getting the actual paperwork done with the state. Once we did that, we were able to get a tax ID number. So then we could open up a business banking account. Um, yeah, and then basically from there, once we had kind of like those ducks in a row, doing like the small things like starting a website, getting different social media handles for, TikTok, Twitter, those sorts of channels.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, after that, it was just finding a product that we wanted to kind of take and run with. And a lot of it was just like getting the data behind the different successful brands that are out there now and kind of seeing like where there's a need for a product that doesn't currently exist. So that's kind of how we came up with our current product. We didn't want to, go into a field where there's, a lot of competition. So it's going to be tough to kind of, solidify yourself if you're not that different. So it was important to us to kind of do that benchmarking and research from the beginning.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. That's really interesting. I'm curious what you feel has been kind of most difficult or like discouraging so far
And then on the positive side of that, what do you think has been something that's been inspiring or like wants you to like compels you to keep going with the business?
I mean, I think the biggest like barrier, at least for me in my specific instance, would be, just the fact that my business partner, he's in Texas, he's right outside of Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been, throughout the process, I've been in the Boston area and now in the San Diego area. So just kind of not being like close proximity wise kind of made things a little bit tougher. We really had to rely on like Zooms and, Google Meets and just kind of being able to make time for each other, with our busy schedules. And, we both work our day jobs full time. So just kind of trying to make time for each other, and try to overcome that barrier of not having, face to face in person meetings. But I would say like our biggest, success or I guess inspiration to keep going, I think just like learning like the whole like process, honestly, just like what we've learned of like how to, start a business, like um what kind of things like we might not have originally thought about. So both of us were in the business and analytics program together, but neither of us really took any entrepreneurial classes.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't have like that sort of background going into it. But I mean, just, going through and like little things like talking to different vendors for, ingredients, um, reaching out to, designers and kind of having that back and forth. Just, I think like just the whole process of learning like the industry, the knowledge that we didn't have going into it, and just really building those relationships with the people that are out there that can help us succeed. And really the biggest thing too is just identifying the different resources that are out there for us. So I mean, there's been a lot of different good resources on YouTube just about, starting a business in general, but starting a, drink brand, the ins and outs of that, things to avoid. So yeah, I think just like the more knowledge we get, the more optimistic we get about the success of our brand.
Nice, thank you. I'm curious when you say, reaching out to folks, making those connections and those initial kind of sparking of conversation. I know that can be kind of difficult for people, like putting themselves out there like that. Do you have any advice in that area, or do you feel like there's did you have some failed attempts, or did you have any advice for how to kind of make those initial contacts?
I mean, I think it starts with, looking at your kind of wider circle, like just kind of think about people you might not have originally considered like interested in what you're doing. So
Mm,
especially this is pretty universal for all different businesses that are starting out and, trying to get your own funding. You need investors and
mm,
angel investors, they have angel investor networks that you can find online based on your area. So there might be some
mm,
specifically for San Diego, more broad for like California. And then like you might find, something like specific to the industry that you're trying to do. So like there are definitely food and beverage, um, you know, investor groups. There's also accelerators that are out there that can help you get from starting your drink brand like as an idea and like seeing it all the way through to production. So I think just recognizing like the different contexts that you already have out there. I know my business partner, one of his friends is part of an investor group in Texas. And they haven't exactly invested in like a drink brand before, but they have kind of a wide portfolio of different things out there. The his friend that's on the investor group is actually a small businessman himself, and he has his own, endeavor. So, having him reach out and get his interest on it. So, now we have we actually have a meeting lined up, I think later this week, to present to him, like, our process, our progress so far, just like where we're at, and hopefully we can continue to build on that connection. But yeah, starting out with the connections that you have, and then if you don't have many business connections or people that could be potential investors, you can always look online and kind of do the research on what's out there. Joining the different investor websites, having like a LinkedIn page and looking on there. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of different avenues you can explore.
Thank you. That's really helpful. And finally, I'm just curious, what do you feel would be some really great essential advice that you wish you had when you first started? And then also if you could share like, I guess, the most eye-opening or most helpful things you've learned so far in your process with starting your own business.
I think advice that I, would have kind of, I guess it's advice that I did receive recently. So, a friend of mine, he's currently in the process of launching his own startup. It's a lot bigger scale than mine, and it's a medical device. It's currently in the process of raising, I forget which series of funding, but it's
Mm.
pretty far along, and it's in the tens of millions of dollars, which is very big compared to what I'm looking to do for my drink brand. And the advice that he gave to me was, to really just be willing to put your name behind your product, and don't like go only halfway in, to just go fully behind it, give her your all and just really push it, and if you fail, you fail, but like at least you tried in the end, versus being too, I guess, cautious about things, and not you know giving it 110%, because that's what you need to succeed in the hyper competitive in workplace and economy that we have today. And
Right.
then your other question was for, what was your other question?
I asked, so you just answered like what advice you wish you had, but I guess I asked what has been like the most eye-opening thing that you've learned so far, like in the whole process of starting your business. Like something that, I don't know, maybe you didn't think you would have run into, or something that you like would be helpful if you knew it before.
I think the most eye-opening thing is just, and it depends from industry to industry, product to product, but there's a lot of smart people out there that are doing similar things to yourself, you know, um, and it's just, you have to be able to stick out, and kind of have your, I guess, X factor, that differentiates you from the competition. It's not good enough to just have a good tasting drink, but you have to have the marketing to back it up. Marketing that's synergistic and ties into like what you're trying to sell. And you really just have to be firing on all cylinders all the time to see true success. You can't just have a good tasting product and not have the social media to back it up, to spread the reach that you need. It could be the best drink in the world, but nobody knows what it is. If it's marketed poorly into making people think it's something that it's not, I mean, that could just kind of have you dead on arrival. So just really paying attention to all the different elements and how they tie into each other. I think it's really important. And just, leave no stone unturned is honestly the best way to look at it.
Nice. Thank you for that advice. I appreciate it. I think those are all my questions. Just to wrap up, it sounds like we covered kind of how you got started, a little bit about yourself. You shared that you went to school at UMass for business. You said business
Business and
analytics or
analytics.
okay.
Business and yep.
Okay. And then you also shared a little bit about what your process has been like so far and some advice. So I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much. And if there's anything else you'd like to share, feel free. If not, we're all set.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Okay. Let me
All right, now that we heard about our interview, let's get back into some more of these topics. So, when we're exploring the possibilities of what it even looks like to start our own business, right? We want to check out some resources to help us explore options. So, we have a couple lists here, and let's just go through them together. So, of course, we're aware of social media. All Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all of these have options for business accounts. And so it's super important now in this day and age to have a online presence, a brand, an image, something that folks think of when they think of your product, when they think of your company. This is huge now, and it's super important to kind of check things out. So, what do the business pages look like, right? Are there analytics of built-in analytics that will show you kind of your views, or people going to your page, or best times to post, things like that. A lot of these features are already included in these applications and are extremely helpful when you're building your brand and then knowing kind of what to do or maybe what to avoid. And another option for us we have, and this is maybe on the small business scale, is Shop My Porch. Great little marketplace on Facebook for makers in the community. So you're going to be serving local folks. So this is a page on Facebook that you can post your wares, your art, anything that you sell. And it specifically targets people in your area. And so this is a great opportunity. Maybe you don't want to pay for shipping. Maybe you don't have shipping supplies, but you have people who are willing to literally come to you for your goods. And a lot of people really love handmade things and creative things or things that are unique to you and what you made. So it's a great way to get involved in the community and also kind of an easy way to start making money without having to have the big website or a storefront or even going to vend out in person. This would be great for folks who maybe are a little bit more, whether they need to stay home or maybe they have, difficulty getting out. This is a wonderful resource. And then we have Shopify, Big Cartel, Etsy, Wix. There's a couple others that we can discuss as well if you have any further questions, but these are just websites with capabilities of hosting an online storefront. And it's equipped with templates, tools, analytics. I mean, everything is on here and you can ship, you can accept credit cards. It just depends on how you have your settings. And so I myself have a Big Cartel. It's an online storefront. I absolutely love it. You can pay monthly or you can have it for free. For free, I believe there's only like 5 products you can have on there. I only pay $10 a month and I can have up to 50 products. And that's really affordable for me. Because not only do I have my website up, I have all the analytics. I can accept Stripe. So that's like another service that you can accept credit cards and people's debit cards. And then I also have a little application that you can add on to your Big Cartel website that allows people to give you reviews. So there's a lot of really fun and cool ways to personalize your website. And it's not as scary or daunting as it sounds. You can play around with the templates. You can really, edit everything to make it pretty and nice and unique to you. I will say it is a lot of work though. Remember, you, especially when you're passionate and you love what you do, you want your presentation to be beautiful. You want your presentation to be a mirror or an image of what you are, what you created. And so it takes a lot of work. I edit and photograph and upload and describe and measure and, post and do all that. And I create everything. So you want to remember that, at first it can be, that maybe it's not 40 hours a week, maybe it's 60 hours a week, and that's just the reality. I want to be honest with you. I want you to be aware of how much work this actually is, but it's so liberating and amazing and fun. And so, not to discourage you, but I like to, give it to you straight, and you deserve that. So just know that there's so many resources out there for you to assist, even in the things that are difficult. And so finally, we have blog posts, WordPress, or a monthly newsletter. And so these are just kind of to create some more streams of income. So not only are you reaching an audience, but you're keeping a steady customer base. And so if you have a newsletter or blog where folks are constantly engaging with your information and your product, they're going to be more likely to buy from you. And they're going to be more likely to be just invested in what it is that you're doing. And so, with that being said, I think it's important to kind of put yourself out there in these ways. And this might actually be a simpler way to even just start out and get a good customer base. And then you can start having more folks get engaged with your products once you kind of capture them in with maybe some good stories or, good content. All right, let's move on to the next slide. And then, okay, another very, very great topic, and also kind of what gets folks a little scared maybe or weary about starting their own business. So funding, money, right? What does that look like? So if we're going to be starting our own business, we have to have something, right? We got to have the product. We got to have, maybe just something in the bank. But, this day and age, that might not be feasible or realistic for folks. So I want you to know that that doesn't necessarily mean that you cannot do what you want to do. And if you truly believe in being an entrepreneur and have something, whether it's a product or knowledge or, anything that you feel can be sold and shared with folks, there are opportunities for you. And there are opportunities that are specifically for Native folks, which is super important, I think, to in terms of our community, because we are a very unique community, and anything that's tailored specifically to our people, I think, is something that we should be utilizing. And so first, we have First Nations grants. I have the website right here, and these are business grants for Native Americans. We have SBA.gov, and this is the SBA funding programs for Native American entrepreneurs looking to break into business ownership, and it all starts with SBA guaranteed loans. So I shared the website right here for you, something to look into, like I said, for funding and seeing if you would be able to get a business loan to start your business. And we have Change Labs, and that's nativestartup.org. And this is a Native-led and Native-controlled nonprofit organization operating on tribal lands that supports and enables the growth of Native American entrepreneurs and small business. Amazing stuff on this website, guys. If you want to check it out, it's really, really helpful. I highly recommend utilizing the information and kind of checking out what they have. And then we have ASEAN Opportunity Fund, and this helps provide business capital to American Indian and Alaska Native tribes. So yeah, there's just a couple options for you. You can always kind of Google like Native support or Native funding for small business, and you'll be able to find a lot of options. These are some great ones that I found and looked into a little bit more and found that they were really authentic and helpful. But the opportunities are out there, guys. It's really, really important. And I think a lot of people are realizing now that, Indigenous folks are really in need of some alternative methods to you know, have a living. And having a small business is an alternative method to be able to survive and thrive even. So all of these services are here to help. And finally, we have support for entrepreneurs in the community. And so this is specifically for San Diego, and we have another one for San Diego and Imperial County. And so San Diego Entrepreneur Exchange is a nonprofit org, and then they're specifically kind of interested in biotech, pharma, life sciences. And so this is a meetup group and a support group and a place for networking. And so I will link their website in the description below. And then we also have San Diego and Imperial Small Business Development Center network. And then this is also really amazing. These services provide assistance to anyone starting, growing, and succeeding with a small business, and tons of assistance in terms of accounting, marketing, human resources, technology, security, and cybersecurity, especially super important if you're online, manufacturing, distributing, and finance. So all of these things that we may not think about that we have to consider when we start our small business. So there's really a lot of help out there. Like I said, I will link all of these websites in the description below, and then we can always discuss further. If this is something that you're interested in, please let me know, and we're able to connect and discuss more. So I just want to say thank you, and please reach out with any questions or inquiries. I'd be more than happy to share more about my small business, how I got started, you know, show you my website, or we can work on that together if you'd like. If you're interested, I can show you how to start something very simple, share some advice on getting into local markets, networking. And I hope this is really fun and interesting for you. And if you have, you know, if you feel like you're ready to get started, we here at Scare would absolutely love to help and be a supporting guide and a supporting force for you. So thank you so much, you guys. I hope everyone has a beautiful rest of their day, and on to bigger and better things. Hopefully, if you're not into entrepreneurship, that's okay. But I hope this was really helpful for you. Thank you so much.